Let's talk about it.
Hello and welcome back to Thicc Radio, the award-winning podcast where we talk about gaining, fetishism, and everything plus size. I'm James.
And I'm Tim, so let's get into it. Today we're welcoming to the show for the first time, we've got Rylie.
Hi guys! Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Baby, we were looking forward to having you. How are you?
I am wonderful. I was looking forward to this all week, and then like 15 minutes before, I'm like, okay, I'm a little nervous, but we got this.
Oh.
Honey, you are going to be just fine. And you know what? This will be a little insider tea for the listeners. For anyone who's unaware, we always do a little intro call with our good Judies before we get into all this, because we want to make sure that everyone's feeling good and comfortable, you know. And Rylie, baby, I think the moment we started talking, I was like, oh, this is a good bitch. Oh, we're gonna have a good time, you know. So...
Okay, perfect. I felt the vibe too.
Well, listen, honey, are you ready to get into it all today?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fabulous.
Let's go.
Good. Well, listen, as per the name of the episode, am I Pregonate or Pregonate or Pregonanananananant or, you know, that whole thing? Baby, we're talking about something today that I think is actually rather pertinent to the fetus side of things, which is the experience of being in a body where one can become pregnant. And so as someone who can experience pregnancy, would you mind walking us through your journey, learning about pregnancy as a young person, and maybe a little bit about what your gestational experience was like?
Yeah, so I always thought pregnancy was just so magical. I thought it was just like the coolest thing that our bodies can like actually do this thing, and I didn't realize how hard it is. And the thing is dang hard. My journey was tough, I think, especially in the beginning. I thought I was just gonna gain so much weight, like right at the bat, but like, nope, other ideas. Your body just like goes through so many different changes, and you have to like be okay with that. Towards the end, though, was like my time to shine. I sat on that couch for a long time and I gained a ton of weight all over, feet, legs, hands, arms, like the whole thing. I never thought I would actually like weigh that much and really feel it, because when I've been like gaining just normally, not being pregnant, it like feels good in your body, but pregnancy, it's like, wow, like suddenly something just like crushed you. And that's what I felt like constantly towards the end. I think by like 24 weeks pregnant, people thought I was like about to pop. I got big fast.
I mean, I've had the privilege of witnessing two of my sisters going through pregnancy, and you know, it is quite an interesting thing to witness as an outsider. Not the least of which because of body transformation, but because, of course, of how it must be making you feel. I witnessed personality shifts in my sisters, where you know, listen, I love my sisters; they're bitches. So you know, when they were pregnant. And they look like they're just angels floating down from heaven, where they're like, oh, James, how are you? I'm good. I'm just feeling so, you know. And I'm sat there like, girl, these unborn babies up inside of you be doing things.
You definitely feel like a goddess.
I have not witnessed either of my sisters giving birth, nor would I want to. That's
No,
fine.
this is...
I'll just show up afterwards.
No, this was gestational, Tim. You know,
Oh, I
like
thought you said
family
you
gatherings.
witnessed the birth. Oh, okay, never mind.
I witnessed my sisters going through the body transformation of
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, I
such a
thought you meant
thing.
the birth.
No,
Like
look,
that makes
was
more
not.
sense.
Yeah, no, was not present for such an event.
Gotcha.
No, don't think I'd want to be. However, if it's like end of the world scenario, you know, someone's giving birth in a zombie apocalypse and I'm the only bitch there with a pair of hands, then like, we'll figure it out. We will.
You don't want
Fine.
me. You don't want me. You don't want me. Mm-mm.
No.
No, no, no. Look, I know I'm a nurse, but like I skated through my obstetrics rotation. I scraped by. And the instructor is like, "You have no interest in this whatsoever, do you?" I was like, "Not a damn bit. I have no passion for this particular field."
It can be very brutal. I come to find out.
Mm. Oh, well, and of course we'll explore a little bit of that here. But just since we're on this kind of introductory point about the journey and about that experience, you were saying this is something that you'd always seen as very magical. But gestationally speaking, you mentioned there was a lot of weight gain that happened for you at the time. Uh, what about other changes that you observed in your body? Were these things that, you found quite challenging to navigate, or did you find it maybe a sense of like, oh, this is just what it means to be pregnant. I'm gonna roll with it, figure it out. What was that kind of thing like for you?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely embraced the whole thing. As hard as it was, I loved the experience from when I first started to really like expand on my belly. That I think was the most exciting part because all of a sudden your whole stomach gets so hard. And yeah, it's challenging, like putting on my shoes and putting on my socks definitely got more challenging as time went on, but I fully embraced it and I loved the attention it gave me, if I'm being honest. I stayed inside a lot, but when I did go out, I was like, yes, I'm pregnant. Watch, watch out. Like, and people could see me coming.
And I
I
know
was
that,
huge.
like, as you know, you were saying, like, you get a lot of attention when you're pregnant. Like, a lot of people, they say, "Oh, you've got the glow for that period of time," and then they're like, "Oh, when's it due?" And everyone wants to touch your belly, which must be really weird. But like, how do they treat it? How do they treat it as like if you start? Does anyone at any point go, "Oh, I know you're eating for two, but slow down"? Like,
Yeah, especially my grandparents, they're like, I definitely get comments from one, and they're just like, oh, make sure you're eating healthy. What are you eating? And then they like look at me funny, like, make sure you're eating your greens. And I'm like, I had fruit all morning because that's literally all I can have. I'm eating the exact protein like I need to eat. Like, just leave me alone. And I recently saw them and I lost some weight since pregnancy. And they mentioned, they're like, oh, you're looking skinnier. And I'm just, don't even pay attention. I completely ignore it because I'm like, just don't even talk about my body. Like, I don't want you to. It like
Mm,
infuriated me.
Something that
mm.
I find really interesting, just because I've known, I've known a lot of women in my lifetime, and I've known most of them have gotten pregnant and have children by this point. And when I think about maybe just 15, possibly 20 years ago, there weren't nearly the like restrictions that they put on a pregnant woman diet like they do today. Like a friend of mine was pregnant not that long ago, and she's like, "Well, I can't eat any soft cheese, and I can't have this, and I can't have that." And I'm like, "Okay, but your mother ate all of that and drank all of that while she was pregnant with you, and you survived."
Baby, my mother was chain smoking with each and every one of us, god damn it. Cigarette in one hand, Jack Daniels and Coke in the other. Magnum ice
Same
creams
here.
and Chinese takeout in the fridge. You couldn't stop her. Oh my god. So this brings up a couple of points for me that I think all are very pertinent, right? So first and foremostly, as gainers and feedies, we operate in the realm of we are consenting to weight gain, we are doing things that society deems as very unnatural, very all this, and that is its own conversation. But there are two things that we need to consider that society gets really, really wrong with fatness that needs to be addressed in the immediate. The first one, as you've been talking about, is weight of pregnant women. Like, I know I don't know the full science behind like proteins and vitamins that pregnant women need to be getting, but like generally speaking, the more weight you gain in pregnancy, like the better the baby fares, because you're literally giving it more life energy to make itself. Similarly, fat kids. Like don't kids need a little extra something so like when they grow they've actually got like stuff to pull from? And again, like I don't know the full science of it, but like is that not how young bodies are supposed to work. Like, conversations around trying to tell women what they should eat make me feel very like, let's not do that. Let's let the pregnant people who are doing the hard work to be pregnant and to go through the birthing process, let's let them make the decisions about what they feel is right for their body. And after the children are here, maybe let's do a better job of leaving them the fuck alone and let them grow up a little bit, you know?
I'm very much an advocate for my body, leave it alone. I'll make the choices, especially like being a parent, like other people should just let you make your decisions of what you're gonna do to like nourish your body. And you're right, we do need fats, we do need those things to like grow and and if I'm gonna eat a cheeseburger, I'm gonna eat a cheeseburger because you know what? Actually, my midwife told me to. So I'm gonna do that. And after I'm pregnant, if I lose some weight, just leave me alone about it. Like, don't talk to me about it. Don't talk about the person across the room that lost weight as well. My family also were like, oh yeah, she looks so good. She lost weight talking about someone else. And I'm like, yeah, but is she happy right now? Think about why she probably lost this weight. She's probably very stressed. Lots going on. Like, just don't talk about it. Unless
Yeah.
they give you permission.
Right. If you intro the conversation, much like the conversation we're having today, then baby, it's open season. We're gonna talk about it and get into it, but unless they give you that consent, don't do it. You know, and the example that gets used a lot is the Reddit threads of women who are diagnosed with a form of cancer and through chemotherapy end up losing a lot of weight. And people will say things like, oh my God, you look so good. And their response is, I'm literally dying. I'm rotting from the inside out. I would rather be fucking obese than having to be dealing with this. Like, we, all of us in our own minds, like we're aware of this. We have these narratives of this is what you say, this is how you say it, this is what we should all want, and what's a pro. But baby, that's not the truth. That's not the truth, and that's not up for discussion. You just got to get into it, and frankly, get over it.
I definitely grew up thinking like, oh, there's an ideal body type and I need to fulfill that. Or no one's going to want me. No one's going to want to be my friend. No one's going to love me. And that's obviously completely false. And I'm so glad to like live in a society now where things are starting to change.
Well, I was going
Hopefully
to say
a little
that
bit.
I think that, celebrity culture often informs all of this stuff in the United States. Like, because every time a movie star gets pregnant, it's always about how, oh, they look so wonderful. They're so healthy. They've made, and, and of course they all drop the weight like instantly, like a week later, they're out jogging or some crap like that. And it's because they have an entire team full of people. They have nannies, they have people who cook their food, do their laundry. They have personal trainers, but unfortunately, like the public doesn't consider that when they think about all of these things. And there are women who are comparing themselves to these movie stars and like, well, she looked so good while she was pregnant, and I don't think that I look good at all. And and then that starts the cycle going on and on about just making you feel like shit about yourself.
Mm. And you know what? Something else that ties very much into narratives around gaining, because there are plenty of people, regardless of the gaining or fetus side of things, the closer access of privilege you've got, the easier it's going to be for you to gain. Guess what? When you don't have to worry about your rent and bills, when you don't have to worry about dressing in professional settings, when you've got the genetics that pay for it, when you've got the money, like, guess what? Your gains are going to come on a lot faster, a lot easier, with a lot less stress, and it's not going to compound in the same way that it does for everyone else. It's almost like, situationally, shit's different for every single person. And what we should do is, when we're having a conversation and engaging with another person, we should hold all of that in consideration when we approach that person about their journey, about their wants and needs, especially at a given moment, and especially if they are experiencing something like pregnancy.
Absolutely, completely agree. And on Tim's comment about like celebrities, like I grew up in the time of like Tyra Banks and America's what is it? I can't even think of the
America's
name.
Next Top Model.
Yes, America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
I've watched probably every single episode of that, and going back and like seeing things that come on social media about that show, they're calling this person that literally probably has like 2% body fat, like saying that they have so much on their bodies, so much fat on their bodies. I'm like, wait, that girl is like so much half my size. What do you mean she's got so much body fat? So it just sets you up for like that. Nowadays, I really respect like a social media person or a celebrity that goes on, no makeup, no filter, like raw me. Like this is how it is. Yes, you see my glammed up sides, but it's not always like that. Most of the time
Mm.
we're slumming it on the couch.
Mm. Very Pamela Anderson these days, isn't it? You know, she came out with the no makeup look, and people were like, "Oh my God, she's unrecognizable." And she was like, "Baby, I'm in my 60s. I don't want to do this no more." So
Yep.
fucking deal with it, God damn it. Now, I do want to ask a question here just to clarify for anyone listening, because we're talking about your pregnancy today. Your gaining fetus journey, just to be clear, is separate to the pregnancy. It was something you were doing beforehand, correct?
Yeah, I was in this community for, oh God, probably about 2.5 years. Oh God, how long have I been doing this? Since 2020-ish? No, 2021? 2022? 2022. So I was doing it for about 2.5 years beforehand. So I definitely was a lot heavier than I previously was. Like I was, I think, a size 6, and I was not a size 6 when I got pregnant. So I had a pretty good introduction to this, and I honestly, when I was pregnant, I didn't like specifically like seek out trying to gain because it just happened. First trimester, forget about it. Couldn't eat anything. Don't bring food near me. The only things I could eat was uh, spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's. Had that a few times. Something from Dunks, which they got rid of. They're always getting rid of stuff. I'm very mad at Dunkin' Donuts. But then second and third trimester, like I didn't have to try at all. Like it just came naturally. So I'm like, this is perfect. Would have been great for making content, but I was also like super tired. So if I could have had someone there with like a camera, like while I'm doing nothing, that probably would have sold great, but unfortunately I didn't. I'm a solo parent, so I sought this out for myself. Yeah. Being in this community actually like made that possible just because I'm being a creator, and I'm very, very thankful for the people that have followed me through this journey so far.
Well, that's probably something that's worth bringing up here, right? Like, whenever we talk about content, always there's that thing of, making money out of the community and the gaining economy and all this stuff. And I understand, right? Like, when people give you money, it's like, oh, it's to make you bigger. Brilliant. They just sort of expect that everything goes along in the background. But as you've expressed there, actually, this community has helped facilitate something for you that you did want that maybe wasn't as doable with society set up the way that it is now, but the broader community made it possible for you to really do this for yourself, which I think is beautiful. A way in which, as a community, like it's the adage, like it takes a community to raise a child, and in this way, it took a community to help make the child. And I think there's something quite beautiful about facilitation in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I wouldn't have been able to like afford to even like live on my own before I started becoming a creator. And there's definitely like things that you give up with this lifestyle, but it's also given me like it's given me time, which is like the most important thing for me. I've never been happier, and I think like that's like the most like what I'm most grateful for.
To kind of take it back a little bit and pivot towards, because we talked a little bit about the medical side of things, it's common medical practice like suggests that weight gain during pregnancy is not a bad thing. There are doctors who will say that there are certain parameters that you shouldn't go above. But I mean, again, like James was saying, uh, more food for the mom means more nourishment for the baby, and yet they still kind of design the certain weight loss programs and or design clothing that's meant for that sort of like perfect pregnancy body that they think exists, where it's just like everything is proportionally exactly the same except just the abdomen's bigger, and it's why do you think that that still persists?
I definitely think I don't know, it's definitely a mixture of things. I think we have to seek out those plus size friendly clothing, especially now. Like, I have to actually look for it. I'm sure it's a lot more common than it was, say, 15, 20 years ago. The clothes I was wearing during my pregnancy, though, was not very stylish. It wasn't necessarily geared towards me. I just kind of got lucky. I was doing a lot of leggings, black leggings. And that's like, and honestly, that's a lot of the style with being plus size in general because clothing is harder to come by, I think. Definitely, I think maybe that I'm putting myself into the space. I see more options coming about. I did have a plus size midwife, which I think was great because she didn't put any stigma on me. She didn't like make me feel like bad about the weight that I was at. Didn't make me feel like my body couldn't do it because I am this weight. And a lot of doctors do. A lot of doctors will be like, oh, you're going to get a C-section because you're over 200 pounds. Like, not even going to consider it. And I know women that are way more than 200 pounds and their babies just came on out. So it's like, it's just, it's different for everybody. And like some women that are super skinny, they're going to need a C-section because maybe their body is just too narrow. And I don't think a lot of doctors like,
That's not something that they can control. And, big women have been
yeah.
giving birth since the beginning of the human race. I mean, I think that we've gotten this far, and that
Mm,
should, and James and I have had many conversations on this podcast about how doctors will immediately jump to the easiest conclusion that they can because either they don't legitimize what your concern is, or they're overloaded and they have to get to the, 50 other people in the day. But either way, it disservices the patient.
yeah, they can't be bothered. And, frankly, this is a good moment to reference the Venus of Willendorf, which, as far as we know at the time of recording, is the oldest symbol of humanity that has ever been uncovered. It's like, what, 50,000 years old, if not older, and it was found in Europe, and it depicts an obese woman. She had enormous tits, an incredibly enormous ass. She was nothing but curves. There were no straight or angular lines. It was nothing but that. And of course, when people look at it, they go, well, she's clearly a fertility goddess. She clearly represents, a woman loaded with the thing that is necessary to make life. So, quite literally, since time immemorial, one of the very first things we thought it was important to make note of in the human species was woman be big. Big woman make baby. And that is just clear as day to observational humans, and it is only with our own fat-phobic racist bullshit that we have made this into a problem for women to contend with.
I wish nowadays it was fat equals healthy, wealthy. Like that's what I think was the picture of what that is.
Fast
If
food
they
was the
were,
downfall of that. Once you could get cheap food to the masses, no, it's over.
Yeah, once fatness becomes something that a poor person can achieve, it's no longer desirable by the wealthy and therefore should not be
yeah,
desired by anyone.
yeah,
All
yeah.
of this stuff. And once again, fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings, you'll need to just fucking go read it. Jesus Christ, it's all in there. Like, get you some reading, get you some learning. God damn it, go and have a bit of a read. Now, I wanna ask you a question here because you mentioned, with pregnancy being magical and how the nature of being a content creator helped facilitate the solo parent journey for you. I would like to ask, what inspired you to want to become pregnant at this time? Is it something that you have wanted for a time? Is there something that you experienced that kind of kick-started this journey for you? Please share that with us.
Yeah, I think I was a teacher before all of this, and then I did my whole life I wanted to be a mom. I could say that. And I was a teacher and I was like, oh, I need more time. I was in my younger 20s. Then I started this career and I suddenly gained more confidence than I've ever had in my entire life. And like with myself and my body. And I think that escalated and trickled into how I see myself as a person. And so I think once I was happy with who I am and then also financially stable, which is a huge part. Like, it's so hard to think about, becoming a parent before, like, you can financially make it because times right now are really hard, obviously. I don't have to tell anyone that, especially here in America. I would like to say if you can donate food, donate food. Sorry, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought there.
You are all good, my love. It was talking about the inspiration for your pregnancy journey, but truly,
Oh.
if we want to take a sec here to reference the nature of food in certain places in the world right now, I think we can certainly take a minute here to say firmly to our listenership, things are tough for people, and I think because things have been so tough for so many of us for so long, we can look at what we do have and think to ourselves, oh, I don't have enough to share. I can't gift, I can't assist with this situation that some people are finding themselves in. And I want to take a moment here to encourage you that you'd be surprised what you can do with some help with some others. Community is not convenient, but it is the most beautiful act of humanity that we can do as people. So if you have excess, especially non-perishables that you can donate to a local food bank, if you even just know people in your neighborhood, people who might be struggling, especially people at varying intersections that might need a little bit of extra help, try and reach out to them. Offer to maybe cook some communal meals together, figure it out that kind of a way. If we can take an opportunity to encourage our listeners to be a little more mindful of that, that as much as we love our gaining and we love our food and we're all on a journey for this, perhaps for some of us living in some parts of the world right now, a little bit of community driven food is maybe a little bit more pertinent to the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Even if you can make a meal for someone one night, put it on Facebook, offer it, you can spend a few bucks to get a family of four fed for the night. I think that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, so it kind of gave me the confidence. I think also my brain completely changed from like the age of like 25 to like 27. I like felt like a switch. Like I've always been pretty mature and seemed older than my age, but just something felt different and I felt like, I could do this. I was definitely scared going into it alone, but then I felt like a source of like empowerment. When I was actually pregnant, I'm like, wow, I'm doing this. I got this. As time went on, I'm like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. But I like to say I'm very, even more empowered now. I'm making it through. And if you are a person out there and you haven't found love and you don't feel like waiting around for it, and that was my thing, I want to know my kids as long as I can. I don't want to maybe wait for a relationship, have it go on for a few years, do the whole thing. I'm like, if you don't have to do the whole thing, that's not for you, and you can make it work, go for it. Have a community, set yourself up. It can be hard, but I think I'm less stressed than people with two parents sometimes, to be completely honest with you. I'm loving life.
I mean, there really is something to that single parenthood has really been looked down upon for so long. A lot of people try to make these really ridiculous correlations between single parenthood and some kind of deviation in society. And I think that it just comes down to the person. Some people function best when they are part of a duo or some kind of unit where everyone's working towards a specific goal, and some people can work just fine on their own. And this idea that, oh, there's not a masculine influence, that I'm so sick and tired of this shit. This very binary, like, boys wear blue, girls wear pink, boys got to play baseball, girls got to play with Barbies, blah blah blah. It's I'm so I as a as a new parent, how do you feel about all that? Like, how do you feel you'll kind of I don't know. I don't want to say like how will you talk to your child about gender, but it's like how do you think you'll pave the way for your child?
Yeah, so that's something that's like been ongoing in my learning journey through life, like especially as a teacher. Like I thought it was like really important for me to understand, especially when I have children that are like I'm personally influencing. So now having my own child, I do have a son, and I put him in pink. I don't think gender has a color, and I'm gonna teach him that. I've had someone really close to me have like pretty misogynistic views, and like just was like, how is he gonna be a boy if he's just raised by you? And I'm like, what do you mean? What does it mean? Like, what does that mean to you? So no, he's not going to be just surrounded by me his whole life, thank God. you know so I think it's just very important. I think as a parent you have to focus. You can't teach other people's kids, so I think when it comes to my kid, I'm going to teach him acceptance. We love everyone no matter what. If he feels like he's going to wear a dress because he wants to wear a dress, that's like, I'm here for it. That's how you feel is how you feel, and I can't tell you any different. I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you through it as much as I can. Yeah, I think just teaching him to be a kind, loving person. And if we come in a way of people who don't accept us for who we are, we can try to educate, offer some insight. If they don't want it, cool. We walk away. Those people aren't for us.
I mean, girl, you're talking to two fags right now, and like this is the kind of stuff that sings to us, because it's like neither Tim nor I are like child inclined. Like I don't think I want to have kids and vice versa, but like there's still the fear of God that sits in a lot of queer people when you come across allies, you come across people of whatever marker who then say, this is the journey I'm going to go on, and you show up, you want to be supportive, but you can't help but sort of have that like fear in the back of your mind where it's like, maybe you're all good to me because I'm your friend and I'm here right now. But when that little boy of yours turns 4 years old and starts saying that he likes the pop divas, when he wants to do a little twirl for a little Christmas show for the family, how are things gonna look? That and it's that it does. It lingers in the back of the mind, and it's a beautiful thing to hear from you that there is such the desire to see nothing but kindness and love showing up for your child. You know, it's not about trying to convince someone of something that ain't the tea. It's about saying whatever is the truth, let it come forth. Let us love on that and champion it. So, yeah, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that with us here in this moment.
Yeah, I think I've like as a parent, like right now that he's so young and obviously will be young for a long time, it's our job to protect him in those situations. Speak up for if someone was to say, "Oh, why is your child wearing a dress? Why is he wearing pink? You're okay with him being in a play?" Just whatever. It's my job to use the language that he's gonna want to need to use if that comes up later in his life. Right now, it's my job to be like his protector, and he's gonna learn from that, and hopefully one day he'll have that confidence to either stand up for himself or someone else that he sees in that situation. And that's like my main goal, is to raise someone confident to stand up for them, but the people around them, their community, people from afar. I think that's like very important.
Now, you know what, to take this in a fun direction, I need to ask you. There is a very popular YouTube video that came out a great many years ago now. There is a man who reads out a long list of Yahoo answers where people have queried in various spellings, am I pregnant? So, while the nature of today's conversation, we have clarified that you have indeed been pregnant, I should clarify the following. Are you now or have you ever been any of the following? Bregant, fregnant, gregnant, pogant, pognet, pegnant, pegnat, pegnate, pegrant, pergonat, pergert, pergnut, pregrenant, pragnant, pragnan, pragnant, pragnet, prangnet, pregant, prefnat, pregananant, pregant, pregante, pregant, preget, preganant, pregonet, pregnat, pregonate, prengan, prengt, prentnet, prognant, pregnant, or do you currently have starch masks?
I think the answer is no, but
I didn't realize how many people have trouble spelling that word.
I
I definitely typed in a pregnant there or something before.
So listen, listeners, if you're looking to reach out to Rylie about her pregnant experience, maybe she'll be open to talking about it with you, or maybe you should ask her about her pregnant experiences. You may receive some very different answers depending on which verbage and spelling.
Pregante always gets me. I was like, really? You put a T at the end of it?
Well, actually, let me put this to y'all here, because within the gainer community, mpreg is a huge thing. And Tim and I will get a hit up for this a lot, because we are men of currently smaller stature than some others, but we are very apple-gutted in shape, which means we get the big, distended, round belly that's very firm, and so you get a lot of people who are like, when's the baby due? How long, have you got any cravings?
I used to get hit up for it all the time. People would want to role play it with me, and because I indulged a couple of times, they would just come back every day with the same thing, and I'm like, oh my
every damn
God.
time. But my question to y'all is, of that redonkulous list of misspellings of pregnant, which one of those would you say is best aligned with the concept of male pregnancy? So if a woman becomes pregnant, does a man become pregante? Like, what is the...
I
do you
should think it
think?
would be either Bregnant or Gregnant, because either one could be like a man's
No!
name.
Gregnant is a man's name! Oh my
What
god,
is?
okay.
I like Greg did.
No, because Greg...
Well, yeah, but I thought
Yeah.
you were trying to tell me that Gregnant was like, I don't know, some kind of Old English name.
No, well, I don't know about that, but listeners, if you have an opinion on what we should redub mpreg, please write into us at thiccradio@gmail.com. Currently, we're leaning towards Gregnant. Rylie, what do you think it should be?
I like Gregnant. I think it just flows.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Great job, Tim.
There you go. And
Well, I
look,
mean, you're only changing one letter from a P to a G, so
there you go. Nice
Takes
and
a
simple.
genius sometimes.
Now, there is a technical thing I'd like to inquire with you here. And again, you've obviously gained some weight before becoming pregnant. To your knowledge, is the experience of gestation and labor like a lot different between someone who's larger and smaller, or is it kind of nominal?
From experiences that I've heard from other people around me, it doesn't really matter because it's going to affect each and every one of us differently. Some people might have the easiest pregnancy, have the worst labor, might be switched, they might have the worst everything. And yeah, I don't think it matters. I mean, okay, if you're immobile already, that might be an issue. But generally speaking, if you're moving around and you have weight, you might not be any different from the person that's wearing a size 4, size 6.
Understandable. And again, that just kind of ties back into a lot of this conversation. While I think the particulars of pregnancy are going to be different for everyone, largely it's get the bitch her craving food, That's probably the one thing I really remember from being a kid when my mum would be pregnant. It was her holding my father hostage, basically saying, get me my craving food, or I will kill you. So my understanding is when the lady says she wants ice cream with cheese whip on top or some bullshit, baby, just put it on the ice cream and just let her have it. Let her get whatever she needs, you know?
Oh, geez. I've never seen someone eat ice cream and cheese whip. Thank God that was not my cravings. I
What
had
did you crave
a,
though?
you know what? It's not very exciting. Red Delicious apples. I probably had like 75 Red Delicious apples, like my third trimester. Don't know what it was. I just wanted fruit. That's what my body craved.
Have you found that you've gone off of it since giving birth? Because that I've heard girlfriends say that like they craved a certain food during the pregnancy and then afterwards they couldn't even look at it.
So I can definitely still eat it. I think like the first few weeks after I gave birth, I was still eating it. Now I don't think about it. Like before, it would just be like in my brain. Like I wake up like I need that in my mouth right now.
Mm. What about other foods? So obviously prior to pregnancy, you would have had food that you were eating that was helping you on that like gaining fetus journey. As we discussed during pregnancy, kind of goes out the window a little bit. It kind of does its own thing. But now post-pregnancy, do you find that in a post-pregnancy body there are certain foods that maybe you can't eat as much of, have new allergies or intolerances developed? Because we're aware of this, right? Like a woman's body can really change because of the pregnant experience. Is that something that you have noticed at this stage?
Luckily, no. Like my end of my pregnancy was so hard I can barely fit anything else into my stomach. So as soon as like I wasn't pregnant, I'm like, feed me all the food. I want it all. I've if I can eat, if I have time to eat, I'm eating it. Basically was my motto when I was pregnant. If I want it, I'm gonna eat it. It's my same motto now. I haven't really changed much.
Now, there is a point that I think needs to be brought up in this, and I understand that none of us here are applicable to this point, but I do want to inquire about this because I think it's pertinent. Trans men who are in a body that can still achieve a sense of pregnancy, right, and gestation. I think it's important that we reference our men in this regard. You know, we're not excluding them from this conversation, especially in such a time as this with a lot of anti-trans sentiment. I'd like to ask, during your gestation experience, did you encounter any trans men or did you become aware of trans men, even in the zeitgeist, on a pregnancy journey? And if so, what was the conversation like around that?
So personally, I didn't meet any trans men who were pregnant. I did see while I was on one of the pregnancy in the pregnancy rooms, one of the rooms across from me had a they them sign, so that was pretty nice. It was like all decorated. I was like, okay, cool, we love this. I think like one of the most important things is a lot of my paperwork had positive language about trans men or, some of the language they might have used people. I don't exactly know the right words that they use, but it would definitely seemed more accepting and they wanted to know. They wanted, like, in a positive way, they wanted to be able to be there to support and help, which I thought is great. I think I even said, like, oh, these are great questions that you guys are asking. Because reading things, I didn't read pregnancy paperwork when I was younger, but, there's new stuff showing up on our medical paperwork, which I think is great because we need to evolve. And medically, we need to evolve. We need to stop just testing things on men. That's like a huge thing.
Girl, when I found out that the motherfucking pill basically has zero efficacy after 190 pounds, like, are you kidding me? We are
I didn't even
gearing
know
our.
that.
No, but it's true. Like, I was gagged. What do you
Yeah.
mean that the pill doesn't fucking work if you're over 190 pounds? Like, I swear to God, this society that we're in is, and I'm so grateful for you that you are a woman who wanted to become pregnant and pursued that journey. But I swear, this society is built to try and trip women into fucking pregnancy. Like, my God.
I just
Well,
had this conversation with my sister. Sorry, Tim, did it go ahead?
oh no, I was just gonna say, well, I was gonna make kind of a, I was gonna make a very leftist joke. I was gonna say, well, otherwise, how will all the white babies be born? You know,
Seriously. I was just having this conversation how America specifically is very pro-birth, not necessarily pro-life. They
Talk
wanted
about it.
us to have the babies, but they don't want to support us when it comes to maternity leave, paternity leave, food benefits, basic healthcare needs, being able to abort that pregnancy if medical things come awry. Like,
Man.
there's just so much wrong with the system. It's like, why do you want us to have more children? So I have a lot of thoughts
Mm.
on that. I will digress, but if you ever want to hear them.
No, I get it. I mean, I think we all kind of think the same thing when it comes to that. We all know the quiet part that they refuse to say.
Mm. Well, listen, we'll put this out there to our other pregnancy people who might be listening. If y'all have got thoughts and would like to do a follow-up roundtable episode because you'll think this is pertinent to the gaining fetus conversation, please reach out to us at thiccradio@gmail.com. Baby, we will facilitate. We will make it happen because these are the real conversations. This is really the things that are impacting people, and it's big. It's big, and it affects a lot of stuff. My question as a follow-up is a little less on the serious side. I was going to inquire, you said you dressed up your beautiful baby boy in pink. When you think about like colors for babies, are there colors that you lean more towards? Like, do you in some ways prefer a gender binary in terms of like, oh, a pink and a blue, maybe swap them around for funsies, or do you like to really experiment with like purples and yellows and things like that?
So when I first got pregnant, I was like, I want all gender neutral. Like, didn't know what I was gonna have. I ended up finding out anyways, but I wanted all gender neutral, and now I'm like, anything that's on sale, anything that I can thrift. So
Yeah, that's the
if
new
it's a
parent school of thought is like, at first you want all of this stuff. And like my sisters went through the same thing. They're like, oh, I want to do it this way and that way. And then they're like, oh shit, no, it's whatever's the cheapest.
legit, I wanted to buy new things in the beginning, and I'm like, why did I buy new things in the beginning? Because that stroller that I got and all these clothes that I got for free works wonderful.
And the way that a baby grows, and people don't even know. Like, you bought a really cute seasonal Christmas onesie for a 0 to 3 month, but the baby was born in April. Baby, that's not gonna fit. That's not gonna fit. It's not gonna last. Those fuckers explode in size. They grow very quickly. My goodness. And like you say, not everything needs to be brand new. And I do remember a relative of mine became pregnant when I was very young. And I have this very firm memory. We were living in Sydney at the time, and my mother is saying to this person, you don't need all that. You need to learn how to wash a flannel nappy because that's what you did when you couldn't afford diapers is you had to learn how to take that flannel, turn it into a nappy. Baby diarrhea shits it. You need to be able to wash that in the sink and clean it out and hang it up to dry and reuse it because you can't be affording nappies every which way each and every day because somehow a thing of like 24 nappies is like $50. Like, are you kidding me? What are we doing here? Ridiculous.
I think a lot of things are very overpriced in the baby world and the feminine product world and the incontinence world. Like a lot of things that we need as humans to feel clean, to feel fresh, to just be able to go about our days are, priced along with food.
Mm. I cannot remember who said this, but they basically said if men could get pregnant, they would have abortion clinics on every street corner. You would be able to whip that bitch out in broad daylight in front of God Himself.
You'd be able to
You
go down to
know?
the post office and get an abortion. I mean, you're
Yes!
like,
And to that point, I cannot remember which Scandi country they have this in, but of course it's in a Scandi country, goddammit. It's the like baby drop off. So like on the outside of a hospital, and they have it inside of some hospitals as well. It's basically a safety room where it's a latch. You can basically lift it up, the baby in the bassinet, it goes in the latch. You close it. It's set up with a rig that basically identifies that something's been put in there. It alerts staff immediately to go and collect this child. It's a surrendering process. So if you've got teen pregnancy or you've got someone who is experiencing some real postnatal depression and cannot handle it, they have the opportunity to surrender the child and say, I know that I can't deal with this right now. It has to go here. And it keeps the baby safe. It's things like that that are ironically pro-life and pro-birth that actually facilitate things and aren't a hindrance to a woman's right to have access to things. And isn't it also the thing, Tim, we were talking about this the other week, a man can get a stent put in his testicles that what does it do? It like kills off the sperm,
It's a
something or other.
vasectomy. Yeah, a
Yeah,
vasectomy is, and it's covered by insurance because it's considered preventative. Isn't that
yeah,
some shit?
and it's fully reversible.
Yeah, and it's fully reversible. So isn't
Fully
that some
reversible.
shit? That is
Yeah.
that is probably the only thing that a man can get 100% covered on his insurance plan is a vasectomy.
And we can barely get birth control.
You get birth control that doesn't work, and they're like, let me slice your arm open to put the implant on in, and here are several cups that you have to angle inside of your whole kit and caboodle. It just, oh
And I'm
my
going to make a
God.
pretty safe assumption here that there aren't a ton of fathers pulling their little boys aside, well, little boys, their 18-year-olds aside, teenagers, and being like, hey, when you're 18, we're going to get you a vasectomy.
Yeah,
It's-
you want to stop teen pregnancy? Take your boys to go get a little something done to be like, you can then nuck and fuck as much as you want. Shoot them blanks all over the room. God damn it, but fuck.
I
Well, keep
think
in mind a
Ugh.
vasectomy does not protect against STDs.
Well, sure, but still, like, I think I think I'd prefer to have gonorrhea than I would do a random child. Like, if I had to weigh it up, if I had to choose, you know? Oh God, but we gotta protect our men, don't we? They're just
I
helpless
think there was
creatures. My
a
God.
birth control for men, and I'm pretty sure like nothing happened because of the side effects they got, which was like very typical for every side effect that we get as
What, the
women.
hormones, they actually had feelings. They couldn't control their feelings. Is that what it was? They actually had empathy and they said, "Oh no, I can't have this."
No way. Can't have feelings for anyone else but me.
Mm, God Almighty. And maybe this is a bit of a deviation, but again, something you and I were talking about recently, Tim. Because also, this is something that I think gay men and straight women do have in common, and it is, unfortunately, I am attracted to men. I hate myself for it, but this is where I'm aligned towards, and so I have to deal with it. So we have these chats about like the nature of men being men, and you just sit there and you're like, for a bunch of people who seem to think that they should be in charge, they are very incapable at a great many things, and you just go,
That's why every time somebody brought up the gay agenda, I was like, and I would think about the gay men that I know, and I'd be like, bitch, sit in on one pride meeting. One pride meeting. We ain't got shit together. We don't know what the fuck we're
no,
doing. We are running around with our heads up our asses.
baby, you want some reality check? When we were dying of AIDS, you know who it was that took charge and got our shit together? Lesbians, women, once again in the driver's seat because men were falling apart, literally and figuratively. Let it be known here on this podcast, like at Thicc Radio, we really do champion our women and we fucking raise our fists for y'all because Christ alive, y'all. We see you, we respect it, god damn it.
Being a pansexual woman, it's very nice that I can kind of pick and choose who I'm gonna want to date at a certain time. I'm
Absolutely.
like, I try to date men, I turned it on to my dating app, and I'm just like, I get overwhelmed. I'm like, I can't.
Don't worry. The
All
same
these
thing happens to
one-liners.
us too.
Girl, ain't no decorum, ain't no. What's that song from Chicago? Nobody's got no class. Like, there's just nothing ain't there. Now, I do want to ask something. There was a book that came across our recommendation, especially as we were doing research for this. It's called Fat and Fertile by Nicholas Salmon. And it's a book where Salmon argues that people in larger bodies who want to conceive often face weight stigma, myth, and systemic barriers, and that the standard narrative of lose weight and then you can get pregnant is both inaccurate and harmful, which obviously correlates to a lot of the conversations we've been having here in today's episode in the book. She proposes a fat positive, inclusive fertility approach, one that emphasizes bodily respect, evidence based care, behavior, and health rather than dieting and weight loss. And I know you've obviously shared some of your gestation experiences with us so far in this episode, but with this kind of a book and framework in mind, I do want to ask, do you think what Salmon proposes, this sort of more body neutral, more about your experience, was that the kind of treatment you received during your gestation, or was it a little bit more of the classic, would you say?
I think from my original providers, I was treated pretty like normally, but that's when I was in like more of a holistic setting, which I think is more accepting. I eventually had to get transferred to a hospital, and when I stepped into that environment, things changed. People look at me a little differently. Like, oh, you weigh over 200 pounds. Like, this might be harder for you. You're going to be tired. I've had people say to me, start exercising now because you're going to be tired when you get into labor and things like that. But I really think it depends on who you're coming in contact with. Luckily, we're new generation of people are coming through, and we're stumbling upon more people with more education, I guess, or acceptance on pregnancy and being a bigger woman and or trans man.
So, as I think a way to round out this whole conversation, what advice would you give to anyone who is in the gaining and fetus world and who wants to experience pregnancy for themselves?
I would say don't get your hopes up if you're expecting yourself to like whatever way you want to go. If you want to completely balloon, you're like, oh, I'm getting pregnant and now I'm going to just gain so much weight. That might not be the case for you. It might be the complete opposite. You might lose weight and you might be unhappy with that. And if that's why you're getting pregnant, then obviously don't get pregnant. That's not the reason why we get pregnant is to gain weight. That's a huge thing. So if that's your main reason to get pregnant is just because you want to gain weight, don't do it. You're not in the right headspace. You might gain a ton of weight and realize like, oh, this feels awful. I don't like this. You might end up loving it. So I just think don't give yourself too many expectations, especially in the beginning.
Rylie, I want to say a massive thank you for today's conversation. I think this has been a fucking hoot. I think you're a delight. And genuinely, I think this was so informative on the pregnancy experience. It's something that, as I say, we see fetishized a lot. And I think this is one of those important conversations where we've just got to pull it apart, look at the realities. And I think you've really given us something to really, really think about today. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you having me. This is very exciting and ticked off something on my bucket list. So I'll be here anytime if you need me.
Oh, now don't say that because I'm sat here like truly Mr. Burns style, like excellent. Like I'm thinking, ooh, all the episodes we finna do, girly. But listen, where can our listeners find you online?
You can just type into Google Rylie Haze. Usually I pop up. If you're looking for an Instagram, ryliehaze20 is where it's at. Find my accounts, my links. Google gotcha.
Fabulous. Well, listen, y'all, that is it for another week here on Thicc Radio. Please remember to like and subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and leave us a good review. Now, listen, y'all, if you liked this episode, the podcast, our guest, or just us in general, please share it with your friends and encourage them to tune in. You can find me on Instagram and BlueSky at stannnum.
And you can find me on Instagram at thiccymouse and Grommr at Orpheus. You can also find us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Thicc Radio, or visit our website at podpage.com/Thicc Radio. If you'd like to become a financial supporter of the show, you can donate through our PayPal account, and you can always email us at thethickradio@gmail.com. So until next time, bye, Fats.
Bye, Fats.
Bye, Fats.
Let's talk about it.
Thicc Radio is a Spotify podcast.
Artwork, media design, editing, and production by James Heinzen.
With original theme music by CYMK.